I think there was definitely a tipping point in convincing the first couple of local authorities that actually we were here with a checkbook to say we are going to fully fund all of the collections, including the fact that we would be using plastic bags to collect some of the material in. So I think that tipping point happened after a few local authorities realised that we were in it for the long run, and that we would be starting this pilot and trialling in 10 local authorities with the intention that we continue to fund them beyond the trial and transition them from what was a sort of voluntary activity into the mandatory EPR. And I'm really pleased that we've kept those promises.
When you look at the presentation that we've just seen, it's easier than I think all of us thought in terms of being able to collect from the curbside, sort from the material recovery facilities, and recycle. That's the more tricky part. But I think we've demonstrated that this can be done, and it feels a little bit like Christmas. We're really excited that everybody else is getting to know what we've kind of known for a while now. So yeah, it feels really, really good today.
I think the engagement from the public continues with supermarket collections, and actually that didn't really stop momentum of the willing public. And there's a small minority of people who are already collecting and dropping off that recycling. We didn't see through the retailer program any drop off of material as a consequence of that. So I don't think there's really trust to rebuild, because although we might think of that in recycling circles as being common knowledge, the average person hasn't really engaged with it.
I think there is a whole suite of different levers available in a policy space. First of all, we've got EPR, which is nascent at the moment in terms of its full execution. We need to understand how that works in more detail and what efficient and effective service looks like. We have the plastic packaging tax, which frankly was designed and geared for mechanical recycling, more likely of rigids, not for food contact flexible packaging. So we need to continue to understand what would need to be true for that to become a successful policy lever. We've got the emissions trading scheme, which is going to incentivize the removal of plastics from waste to energy streams. And then in Europe, we also have a minimum recycled content policy. And all of those, I think, are going to intermesh with one another to create the kind of environment necessary for more flexible food contact recycling to emerge. But it's going to take careful exploration of that with governments to understand what are the really key policy levers and at what level do they need to be set. So my view is it's not quite as simple as just one tool. It's a sequence and a suite of incentives to create that future economy that we need. We've touched on it already, that the enthusiasm that's come through from the local authorities and the waste managers to engage with this, once we'd reached that initial tipping point, was really encouraging. And what I'm taking away from this stage of this work is that, as we head towards EPR, I think there's a really positive atmosphere of engagement with the waste managers and with local authorities, that we want to find ways to solve this problem. And once we'd established the toolkit that we needed, lots more people were very interested, and I think that bodes very well for the future.
And I'd just add very quickly, if I can, how well we all work together as competitors, which was really interesting and engaging.
And not without its challenges, right? I think Ecosurety did a great job in terms of facilitating that. And this is an area where we want to work together, pre-competitively, because that's a problem that we all want to solve.